In this video, I really want to talk about how there are a lot of things in bass fishing that simply take time. You know, whether that's developing a pattern or whether that's kind of mastering a certain lure. But really when it comes to figuring out the fish, there's just a lot of times where it takes time. Like I know for myself as an angler, when I get out to the body of water, I want to start catching as soon as possible. I want to get to where I got something figured out and I know how to catch them. But there's just some things that take time. And in this video, I really want to talk about kind of the process that I went through recently to figure out some fish and how it really took the majority. It pretty much took the entire day to kind of figure this out. But once I figured it out, it was very easy for me to go out and catch a bass. And so anyways, I want to talk about that in this video. Now, before I get into it, this video is brought to you by my apparel company. As you guys may or may not know, there's just a few more days left in the July sale on the USA made sun shirts. These are one of the only sun shirts made in the US. It's something that I'm really proud of. And right now for the month of July, they have been 20% off, whether you buy one or if you buy 3 or 4. I know if you buy 2 or more, you also get free shipping. So anyways, I'm going to leave a link down below in the description. You can shop at Fin Fishing. It is truly the best way to help support this channel, and I greatly appreciate it. All right, I want to tell you a little bit about what I went through here recently to kind of figure out a body of water. And this will all be coming out on a video that I do over on BassFishingHQ. But long story short, when it comes to this, is that I decided that I was going to go to a body of water and really try to, without my electronics, go out there and catch fish. We're here in the middle of summer. I've been using my electronics, it seems like pretty much all month, all year long, but really a lot in the summer months. And I just wanted to put those things away and I wanted to try to figure out the fish. So I went up to this lake. I've never fished this lake shallow, so this was all new water to me. And I start running down the lake, and immediately one of the biggest things that I notice is that there's lily pads at this particular lake. And so I pull over at the lily pads and I break out 3 different rods. I have a punching setup, something for a little bit thicker cover, like a 1 ounce weight. I have kind of a more standard flipping and pitching setup with a 1/2 ounce weight. And then I had a frog tied up because lily pads, frogs, they go hand to hand. Anyways, I ended up fishing, and I actually ended up starting catching. I started catching a couple of fish fairly quickly. Actually, the first fish that I boated of the day was a 427. And I caught that fish just flipping in pads, or at least what I thought I was flipping in pads. And so I ended up spending like the next 3 hours, and I was flipping every single pad that I saw. And I was spending a lot of time, and I was catching some fish, but the fish that I caught after that first one were a lot smaller, like 1 pounders, barely keepers. And I just kept thinking to myself, man, was that one big one a fluke? What's the deal here? And so anyways, long story short, and this has already been a long story, later in the day, I found another little area. And the biggest thing about this area is that not only did you have lily pads there, but you also had some mixed in coontail and milfoil grass, which created kind of these little mats in and around this area. And I actually ended up finding a school of fish in this little mat, or in this little like general area where these little mats were mixed in. And I caught, like, I think I had 9 bites in this one little area. I caught several of the fish, including some fish that were better quality, close to 3 pounds. I lost one that was a giant. It was a big one. So then I started to think, maybe I need to find more of this kind of grass mixed in. So I ended up going back to that first spot where I ended up catching that 427 right after I fished through this area, because I just wanted to fish through it again because I kind of fished through it really quick. And as soon as I got up there where my little waypoint was, where I caught that fish, I realized then and there that right where I'd caught that fish, I couldn't see it in the morning because it was really early and it was kind of lower light conditions, but there was some more of that scattered coontail and milfoil mixed into the pads. I thought that I had just been flipping pads and that was it. But when I got into this area, I saw the coontail and the milfoil. And if I went this way, which was the way that I had gone earlier in the day, that coontail and that milfoil stopped. But if I went the opposite way, there was still a lot more. So when I got back there that day, I went the opposite way where I'd caught that 427, and I ended up catching another 3-pound plus fish and another like 2¼ pound, like quality fish, all in a very small section. And right then and there, it clicked on me that the quality fish that I was catching throughout the day, because I could go to pretty much any pad field and get bit, but the quality fish, you had to have mixed in milfoil and coontail grass. It was a must. And the rest of the day, I spent literally looking for this perfect ingredients. And it took a long time, but I eventually found another one of these areas. I went in there, and it was like the last part of the day. So I literally had 10 minutes to fish. I see it, and I'm literally talking to the GoPro at the time, and I'm like, man, this has everything that I need. And I start flipping, and I'm pitching, and bam, I set the hook, and I miss what felt like a good one. Then I catch a 2-pounder, then I catch a 4-pounder. And it was just like, it took a while to develop the pattern. And I feel like as anglers, we all want to get out there and jump on things really quick, but it took some time for me to fish a lot of like not great water for me to fully understand what exactly and where exactly the quality fish were in these pads. Because a lot of anglers like myself, you may have just went the rest of the day fishing pads and thinking, man, I just need to find that right section of pads. But when I really clued in the grass thing, it allowed me to eliminate so much water out there. I could pull up into a pad field, and sometimes I started not even going up on the trolling motor. I would just pull up and idle past all the pads. If I saw the grass mixed in, I would start fishing. If not, I would just pass on by. And so, because I knew that, yeah, you could probably catch fish a little bit of anywhere, but I just figured after what I'd seen that specific day, that the bigger ones and the groups of fish, you had to have that grass mixed in. So I'm just saying all this to let you know that some things in bass fishing just take time. They take time to develop, but I think that when you spend the time doing that, it really helps you to like understand the why. Like the why as to where the bass are, you know. And this has happened to me, not just obviously the other day. This has happened to me hundreds of times out on the water, where it took me some time to really figure out the why. And once I figured that out, it became so easy. I could run up, I could see exactly what I wanted to see, and it made a huge difference. This happened to me last week actually as well, but the week before, and I was actually using my electronics this time. But I kind of figured out what the bass were relating to on the bottom, what I needed on the bottom. And as soon as I figured that out, after it had taken me like 3 hours, it was bam, 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 bam. It was almost easy at times. So just know that things are going to take time to develop out there. And I think that's why it's so important for us as anglers to also like give things time. If you catch a big fish doing something, try to keep doing that for a little while. You know, like I said, I caught that big fish, 427, flipping pads. I'm like, this has got to be something. And then I spent a lot of time in not great water, you know, unproductive water, but I kind of got to see what I needed to see in order to really understand the pattern. So this is a little bit more of the mindset when it comes to bass fishing. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this one. If you do, please let me know. Also, don't forget to check out that fin fishing gear, and I will see you guys tomorrow.